Well, welcome to prayer meeting on Wednesday night. Our devotional comes from Romans chapter 12, be verses 9 through 16. Verse 16 actually has 3 sentences in it. We'll be looking at sentences 1 and 2 of that particular verse. So Romans chapter 12, verse 9. The topic of these verses is traits of holy people. Traits of holy people. Verse 9 says, "Let love be without hypocrisy. Abhor what is evil. Cling to what is good." Well, a prominent trait of holy people is their genuine love for God and for each other, and also for people that do not know God. So if we are a holy people, we love God, we love each other, and we love all those people out there that don't know God. There's a lot of people in our city that don't know God, right? Okay. The Living Bible translates this rather nicely. He says, don't just pretend that you love others, really love them. I like that. That's just plain folksy words that I can understand. Don't just pretend that you love others, really love them. Now, let's be honest. We may not like some people, right? There's some people we may not like. Or there may be some people that we just clash with their personalities. But we will have a genuine, unpretended love for them. Even though they might be a person that we really don't like, but we can still love them. Now maybe that's a little bit difficult for younger people to understand, but we older people, we understand that because we lived a long time. And there are people in the world that you just will not like them. And some of them may be in church with you, and they may love God, and they may not like you. But you can love each other because you're in the same spiritual family. You both love God. You love each other even though maybe we don't like each other, or our personalities clash. Basically, I'm a quiet person, reserved person. There are some people who are just the opposite of me. I mean, they just talk all the time and they just never seem to shut up. Okay? Well, we can get along with them because we genuinely love them. We don't pretend to love them. We really love them. Now, the love that Paul mentions in this verse is the agape kind of love. And you've heard a lot of teaching about that word agape. It means it's unconditional. It means I love you regardless of what you do or don't do. You know, parents have unconditional love for their children. Every once in a while, that child of yours is going to do something that just really upsets you, something that's wrong. They may break a law, who knows? And we don't want that, but still, we love them. We don't give up on them. Okay? So whatever cost it may be to ourselves, we will encourage those who are already in the faith, and we'll work to reach those out there that need salvation. So we are in this together to encourage each other and to be able to help other people come to the Lord. Paul said, abhor that which is evil. Abhor. That means to hate. And what he says is to hate sin of any and all kind as much as you hate the thought of that eternal hell to which sin leads. The Bible says there is a place in eternity called hell. And people that don't love God, they don't live for God, they will go to this place called hell. And sin is the issue those wrong things that people do. They do them because they just don't want to do what God says to do. Well, we need to hate sin as much as we would hate to see people go to hell. Who here wants to see anyone die and go to hell? No. No. I'd rather they come and get saved and give their lives to God. So we need to hate sin. And every day you see somebody out there that does some kind of sin. Now maybe it's not somebody in your family, but how many here have a television? Okay? How many see people on television? I mean, they're just acting out a story, but the things that they're acting out, how many see people do things that are sinful? Stealing things, killing things, people, using bad words. Okay, we need to really hate that, because it's those things that keep people from God, and those things that end up being a reason why some people go forever to a place called hell. So keep sin out of your life, first of all. Nobody here wants to go to hell when they die, right? Okay, not me. So keep sin out of your life. How do you keep sin out of your life? Well, learn what God's Word tells you to do and what not to do. Okay? The Bible. Read the Bible. Read the Sunday school stories. Come to Sunday school. Come to church. And listen. And let God teach you. And then you do those things that God shows you to do. Okay? So keep sin out of your life. Live for God. And then work to rescue those who are under sin's bondage, so that they will not have to go to that very hell that sin would otherwise send them to. And then he says, cling to what is good. It's interesting, you know, the New Testament was written in the Greek language, the ancient Greek language. Okay? And the Greek word for cling actually means to glue. How many know what glue is? Yeah, it makes things stick. So, says, cling to that which is good. In other words, stick to all that is good and do it at all times. And then do not make any room in your life for that which is not good. Out of my life. Don't do it. All right, look at verses 10 and 11. The Bible says, be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in honor giving preference to one another, not lagging in diligence, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Now, a lot of big words in that, what the Apostle Paul wrote. But what he is saying is, as Christians, we are all part of the same spiritual family. It doesn't matter whether we're boys or girls, men or women, old or young. How many here are old? Okay. How many are young? How many don't know what you are? And it doesn't matter what color your hair is. You know, I see some ladies here with beautiful white hair. And mine's kind of gray, steel color, right? And yours is a beautiful black. Oh man, look at that black color. Isn't that neat? And yours is, what? Redhead. You're a redhead. You got to watch out for the redheads. And these two guys look like they've been to the barber and got their hair cut off, so we don't know what color their hair is. Okay. But we're all part of the same family. It doesn't make any difference what those different things about us are. You know, what house we live in, or what color our skin is, or what color our eyes are. We're all the same family. And for that reason, we should have a tender feeling towards all of our spiritual brothers and sisters, even though we might not like some of them. Okay. Now, we're all friends here, aren't we? Okay. But, you know, maybe there's some time, you're all you brothers and sister here. Sometimes one of you does something the others don't like. Okay, yeah. But doesn't your brother do something you don't like every once in a while? Does she do something you guys? Oh, okay, yeah. I know because I have a little sister. Huh?
You mean big sister?
Huh?
You mean big sister?
No, I have a little sister. Yeah, she's 67 years old.
67.
Yeah, or 66 years old. Sorry, Kathy, but she's about this tall. She's short. My little sister. She lives in Washington State. So, Kathy, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but you know how that goes. So, well, Paul says, be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love. What he's saying is, treat your spiritual brothers and sisters better than you treat yourself. That's a pretty high standard, isn't it? Okay. So, and this is not just in the personal things that we do, but it's also in serving the Lord. Be diligent in serving the Lord, because in doing that, that blesses and encourages other of God's people. You know, we're encouraged when you come to church. That's a good thing to do, isn't it? Come to church. Well, that encourages me. Okay? Now, I'm the pastor here, so I'm the guy that gets up there and preaches like that. Aren't you kind of glad when I come to church?
Yes.
Okay? All right. Because if I decided just to stay home one day, who'd preach? Would you miss me? Okay. All right. Well, if you aren't here, I miss you. Okay. Verse 12 says, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer. So, the Apostle Paul tells us, rejoicing in hope. Live every moment of your life in hope. And by that we mean the confidence that Jesus is going to soon come back to this world, appear to this world. And that's going to happen one day. Now, it may not happen in my lifetime. It may not happen in your lifetime. You know, when you grow up and have children, maybe it'll be in their time. Or it could be tomorrow. Or how about while we're having church, if Jesus would come back? I'd vote for that. Okay. So live every moment of your life with the confidence that Jesus is soon going to appear. But if that coming back in that way doesn't happen right now, one of these days, all of us are going to die. And do you realize that when we die, that's one way that Jesus comes for us? So live in that hope that if you die, Jesus is going to take you to heaven. That's a good hope to have, isn't it? Okay? In case you haven't figured this out, Sister Glenna, you will have trouble sometime in your life. I know for the last 8 decades, your life has been smooth, just a nice walk on the beach, right? Well, you will have troubles, and hopefully these troubles will not be of your own making. Okay? If you cause your own troubles, you get what you deserve, usually. But even when experiencing some kind of a trial or a problem, be patient, as you have the hope that it will eventually go away and Jesus will bring you out on the other side. I occasionally have problems, things that happen in my life, and I know I just need to stay true to Jesus. Just walk today, live for Him today, walk for Him, live for Him tomorrow, because one of these days the problem's going to be over. And He is the one that's going to keep me all the way through those problems. And especially, don't forget to pray. Don't forget to pray while in a trial, as that is your anchor that holds on to Jesus. Don't lose your grip. Verse 13 says, distributing to the needs of the saints, given to hospitality. Be hospitable. Well, what does that mean? Share when it's appropriate and give when it's needed. Okay? Those are good things to do. Every once in a while, somebody's going to have a hard time. They'll need something. Maybe they're sick, and maybe they can't come to church on that Sunday because they're sick. Nice to do something good for that person, to call, to send a card, take some food over, go clean the house, cut the grass. How many here know how to cut grass? Okay, you get scissors and you get down there in the ground and you cut the grass, right? No? You know better than that. You get a mower, don't you? Okay. You know, there was several years ago I had back surgery. And I was in bed for several days, and then for about 6 weeks after that, I had to be very careful how I moved around. I couldn't mow my grass. You know, when somebody has a surgery like that, maybe their grass needs to be mowed, maybe their house needs to be cleaned, maybe their car needs to be washed, maybe their shoes need to be polished. You know, there's always something you can do to be a blessing to somebody, to be kind to them, to be hospitable. We can't know every situation among God's people, but when we do become aware of a real need, graciously do what you can do to help, even though it seems like such a little thing. I know when I was sick like that, I really appreciated when somebody would do something, so bring some food over even. And my wife, she's a great cook. But it was a blessing when somebody would bring some food, because that meant, you know, she was tired trying to take care of me, and it helped her. That made me feel good. Okay? Verses 14 and 15 says, bless those who persecute you. Oh, now this is a little harder to do, isn't it? Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. The Living Bible says it this way. If someone mistreats you because you are a Christian, don't curse him. Pray that God will bless him. That's the right attitude to have. You know, if you are really serious about living for Jesus, that's going to upset some people that you know, because they will want you to do things, they want you to say things that you're just not going to do because you know those things are wrong. And I have actually had people want to hurt me because I wouldn't do something wrong with them. So what should I do? Should I curse them? No. Pray that God will bless them. You know, I don't always have to say, that's the wrong thing. You know, you're going to hell because you're going to do that. That may be true. But really, what should I do? I should get away and say, God, please help this person to realize that what they are wanting to do is wrong, and they need to get right with God. So the best blessing would be for that person to be under conviction and want to be saved. And our response to any kind of persecution should show unbelievers that Christ really lives in our lives. So take an interest in events that happen in people's lives. Not like a busybody or one of those people that delights in knowing all the bad stuff that happens in people's lives. There are people like that. I know some of them. But be genuinely happy with those that have happy things happen in their lives. And show genuine concern with those that have bad things happen in their lives. Remember, talk is cheap. Actions always speak louder than words. Then verse 16, he says, be of the same mind toward one another. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble. The Living Bible puts this verse in some rather folksy language that we can all understand. It says, work happily together. Don't try to act big. Don't try to get into the good graces of important people, but enjoy the company of ordinary folks. Now, I really like that. In that, I understand that. Don't act uppity. Just enjoy the company of good, ordinary people. And that's what most Christians are, just good, ordinary people. A man that lived a long time ago by the name of Adam Clarke commented on these traits. He says, pray for the same good for all which you desire for yourselves. Okay? You want God to bless you? Who wants God to bless your lives? Well, pray that God will also bless the rest of us here, other people. The attachment to high things, he says, and high men is a vice of little shallow minds. However, it argues one important fact, that such persons are conscious that they are of no worth and of no consequence in themselves. What he's saying is, if you just want to be around the uppity people, all it really says is you just don't think very much of yourself. That's really what it says. Now, the King James Version, and some of you have a King James Version, renders the last phrase, condescend to men of low estate. Now, in modern English, that sounds as if we think of ourselves as better than others, and we are doing them a favor by looking down on them. That is so far from the truth. On this point, Adam Clarke gives us some sound advice. He says, be a companion of the humble and pass through life with as little noise and show as possible. Let the poor, godly man be your chief companion, and learn from his humility and piety to be humble and godly. That's good advice. So, depending on how you count them, there are 14 traits mentioned in this passage. How many of these traits do you see in your life? Are you a holy person based on what the Apostle Paul wrote here? I certainly hope so. It's possible you can be. Amen.